The village of Amarachi was known for its tranquility, nestled between vast green hills and flowing rivers. At the heart of this village stood a grand palace where Queen Oluchi ruled with an iron fist. Her beauty was legendary, with skin as smooth as polished mahogany and eyes that could pierce the soul. Yet, despite her grace and regal presence, her heart was shrouded in bitterness. Queen Oluchi had once been a spirited and joyful woman, but that changed after the sudden death of her husband, King Anayo. The grief clawed at her heart like a wild beast, leaving her empty and vengeful. She became ruthless, her smile fading like a setting sun, replaced by a perpetual scowl. Her court, once vibrant with laughter, became a place where fear lurked in every corner. Servants moved silently, their heads bowed, too afraid to meet her gaze. Among the servants was Adaeze, a young maid with a spirit as bright as morning light. Adaeze had been brought to the palace as a child, after her parents passed away in a mysterious plague. She grew up in the queen's shadow, yet she never lost her cheerful disposition. Her kindness became a balm to many of the weary servants, and though she worked tirelessly, she always found a reason to sing. One evening, as the sun bled orange across the sky, Queen Oluchi paced the grand hall, her thoughts heavy. Her advisors had just informed her that neighboring kingdoms were plotting to challenge her reign, seeing her widowhood as a weakness. Furious, she dismissed the meeting and retreated to her chamber, only to find Adaeze humming softly while arranging freshly picked lilies. "What is this insolence?" Oluchi snapped, her voice like thunder. Adaeze froze, dropping the flowers. I was only trying to brighten the room, Your Majesty," she stammered, bowing deeply. Oluchi's glare could have melted iron. "Who gave you permission to bring those vile weeds into my space? Do you think your petty attempts at cheerfulness can erase the darkness of this kingdom?" Adaeze's lips trembled, but she dared to speak. "Your Majesty, sometimes a little light can make the darkest night bearable. The lilies remind me of hope." Hope. The word struck Oluchi like a blade. Her husband's last words had been about hope, that even without him, she should hold on to it. Enraged by the memory, she slapped Adaeze, sending her sprawling. "Never speak of hope in my presence again," she hissed. "You are nothing but a servant, and your optimism is nothing but foolishness." Adaeze remained on the floor, tears pooling beneath her. The queen stormed out, her steps echoing through the corridor. That night, Oluchi's dreams were haunted by the king's voice, reminding her of the love they once shared. She awoke breathless, sweat beading on her forehead. The following day, gossip spread throughout the palace that the queen's anger was growing wilder by the day. Some servants whispered that Adaeze's presence had brought forth the queen's deepest pain, but no one dared to confront her. However, Adaeze couldn't ignore the guilt gnawing at her. She knew she had to make things right, not just for herself but for the queen who once knew love. One evening, as the queen sat alone in the garden, Adaeze cautiously approached. Oluchi glared but didn't send her away. "I brought you something, Your Majesty," Adaeze said, revealing a delicate woven bracelet. "My mother taught me to make these. They symbolize strength through difficult times." Oluchi scoffed. "You think a mere trinket can heal what is broken?" Adaeze hesitated. "No, but sometimes, remembering kindness helps. You once ruled with compassion. The people miss that queen." Silence stretched between them. Oluchi's hands trembled as she reached for the bracelet, her eyes clouded with old pain. "I have forgotten how to be that queen," she whispered, more to herself than to Adaeze. "You haven't forgotten," Adaeze replied softly. "It's just buried. Grief doesn't mean you must abandon love." For the first time in months, Oluchi's eyes softened. Memories of laughter and dances under the moonlight surfaced, moments when King Anayo held her, whispering that strength and love could coexist. The transformation wasn't sudden, but the palace began to change. The queen's anger ebbed like a receding tide, replaced by cautious warmth. She started walking through the village, listening to the concerns of her people, and sharing quiet words with those who mourned lost loved ones. One evening, as the villagers gathered for a festival, Queen Oluchi sat among them, no longer aloof and guarded. Adaeze played a gentle tune on a wooden flute, her melody weaving through the night air. When the queen's eyes met hers, there was no hostility, only gratitude. Oluchi knew she still had a long path ahead, but she had begun to reclaim the kindness buried beneath her grief. And as the festival roared with joy, the queen finally allowed herself a small, genuine smile, knowing that healing, though slow, had finally begun. From that day on, Adaeze remained by the queen's side, not as a mere servant but as a gentle reminder that light could exist even in the darkest of hearts. The village flourished once more, no longer suffocated by fear, but thriving under a queen who chose to mend rather than break. And in the quiet moments, Oluchi would trace the bracelet on her wrist, remembering the strength that love had once given her, and could give her still.